Welcome to TechNova Podcast. Hey, everyone, and welcome back to another deep dive.
Well, it's going to be a good one.
It is. It's going to be a really good one. We're diving into the world of DeepSeek.
DeepSeek.
Yeah, you know those folks over in China that are really kind of shaking things up in the world of AI?
Yeah.
And I know you all are interested in this kind of stuff, so
Oh, yeah.
this is going to be great. So to kind of get us started here, DeepSeek was founded just a couple years ago in May 2023
Wow.
by Liang Wenfeng.
Okay.
And if that name sounds familiar, that's because he also founded the quantitative hedge fund, Highflyer.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Which is also really interesting because Highflyer is DeepSeek's only investor.
So they have like a really long runway.
Yeah.
They don't have to answer to like typical, VC investors.
Exactly. They don't have to worry about, quarterly earnings calls and pleasing shareholders and all that.
Making somebody rich.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's a really interesting setup.
Yeah, that's pretty unique
For them. And, they've been moving really fast.
They have.
So far, they've already released DeepSeek Coder, DeepSeek LLM, DeepSeek V2, DeepSeek Coder V2, DeepSeek V3.
They've been busy.
And DeepSeek R1.
Wow. That's a lot in a short period of time.
Yeah, and that was all just in about 2 years.
Yeah.
So these folks are moving quickly.
Well, it sounds like they have the resources and the talent to do it.
They do. And speaking of talent, they've assembled this team of, young, brilliant minds, graduates straight out of, the top universities in China.
It's really interesting how they're not going after, the old guard.
Right.
The people who have, 20 years of experience in the field.
Exactly. They're going for the fresh.
The young guns.
Yeah, the young blood.
The hungry ones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting.
Yeah.
And then another thing that makes these guys unique is the techniques that they're using.
Yeah.
To train these AI models. So they're using this thing called reinforcement learning.
Oh, wow. Reinforcement learning. Oh,
or
wow.
RL,
RL.
if you're in the know.
Right.
And that's really different than...
So most of these companies are using supervised learning.
Right. It's not like supervised learning where you're feeding the model tons and tons of data.
Right. It's basically just here's a giant data set.
Right.
Learn from it.
Figure it out.
Go nuts.
Exactly. With RL, they're kind of giving it problems to solve and kind of letting the model learn through trial and error.
So it's sort of like it interacts with its environment and then gets feedback based on its actions.
Exactly.
And then it learns from that.
Yeah. It's a really interesting approach.
It is.
That's fascinating.
And it's really different than...
because it makes the models a lot more adaptable, right? Because then they can kind of... they're not just trained on one specific thing.
Right. They can be more flexible.
Yeah. So it's really cool.
Yeah.
But, I imagine that this approach takes a lot of computational power.
Yeah, you would think.
And so how are they managing to do all of this?
So this is where their architecture comes in.
Okay.
They're using a mixture of experts approach.
Mixture of experts?
Mixture of experts or MOE.
MOE. Yeah. Okay.
And it's really cool. So basically... instead of activating the whole model for every single task, only the relevant parts of the model are activated.
Oh.
So it's if you're solving a math problem, you don't need your language centers of your brain to be fully active.
Right.
You only need the math part.
Makes sense.
So it saves a lot of computational power.
Yeah. So it's a really efficient way to run these models.
Exactly. That's really cool.
It is. And they're not stopping there.
No.
They also have this multi-head attention thing going on.
Oh, yeah. The multi-head latent attention.
Yes.
MLA.
In DeepSeek V3. Yeah. So
basically, this allows the model to process information from multiple angles at the same time.
Oh, wow.
So it's instead of just looking at something straight on, it can look at it from the side, from the top, from the bottom.
So it can kind of get a more complete picture.
Exactly. It gets a much richer understanding of the data.
That's incredible.
So, they're not just building these powerful AIs, they're building smart AIs.
Right.
They're building AIs that can really understand
the nuances,
the world around them.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It is.
But, as complex and as powerful as these models are, how do they make them accessible to a wider audience?
That's a great question.
To people that maybe don't have access to supercomputers and
Right.
giant data centers and stuff.
So this is where distillation comes in.
Distillation.
So basically what they do is they take all of the knowledge
Okay.
from their larger models
Mm.
and they distill it down into smaller models
Oh.
that are much more compact and efficient.
So it's like a
Kind of like, if you have like a master chef
Right.
teaching their apprentice
Right.
their signature dish.
Okay.
The apprentice might not have all of the experience,
Mm-hmm.
but they can still make a pretty amazing meal.
Yeah. That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
So they're taking these massive, powerful models and making them, small enough to...
Accessible to everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that's really important, especially when you think about the cost
Yeah. Totally.
of developing and deploying these things.
Because these things aren't cheap.
No, they're not.
No.
So that brings us to, another one of DeepSeek's kind of core strategies,
Okay.
which is cost efficiency.
Cost efficiency. Okay.
So they're not just trying to build the most powerful AI.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to build the best AI at the lowest possible cost.
Well, and that's really what's shaking things up
Exactly.
in the whole industry.
Yeah.
Because they're undercutting everyone.
Yeah, they're like starting a price war
Yeah.
in AI.
It's crazy.
It is. And it's, it's pretty bold for a company that's only been around for a couple of years.
Yeah. I mean, the big guys aren't happy about it.
I bet they're not.
But I mean, how are they doing this?
Right. Like how can they afford to offer these prices when, you hear all these stories about these models costing millions and millions of dollars to train?
Right. Well, it all comes back to their efficiency.
Right.
Remember DeepSeek V3?
Yeah.
The one with the multi-hit attention?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they reportedly trained that for about $5.5 million.
What?
Yeah.
That's like nothing.
It's nothing compared to what some of these other companies are spending.
Right. Like that's a rounding error
Yeah, basically.
for some of these big companies.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It's wild. And it really makes you wonder, like, what are these other companies doing?
Right. Are they just throwing money at the problem?
Like, are they just inefficient?
Yeah, like why does it have to cost so much?
Exactly.
It's crazy.
Yeah, DeepSeek's kind of showing that, you don't need to have $1 billion budget
Mm-hmm.
to create cutting-edge AI.
Right.
It's about being smart about it.
Yeah. You got to work smarter, not harder.
Exactly.
And they're not even stopping there with just the cost efficiency in the models themselves.
Right. They're open sourcing everything.
They are, which is crazy.
Which is insane.
They're just putting it all out there for anyone to use.
Yeah. Anyone can take their models, modify them,
Build on them.
build on them, do whatever they want.
Which, I mean, that also like further drives down the cost
Yeah, absolutely.
for people using this technology.
Yeah. No licensing fees,
It's amazing.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's truly democratizing AI.
It is. It's like they're saying, hey, you don't have to be Google.
Right.
You don't have to be...
You don't have to be OpenAI.
Yeah. You don't have to be one of these massive companies to, get in on the AI game. It's really amazing.
I guess.
But, I mean, I imagine that it's not all sunshine and roses.
Oh, of course not.
They've got to be facing some challenges.
Yeah, there are definitely some hurdles.
Right.
One of the big ones is the compute gap.
Oh, yeah.
Despite their efficiency,
Mm-hmm.
they're still at a disadvantage compared to some of the U.S. companies
Right, because they don't have access to...
because of export controls.
Right. The same kind of hardware.
Right. They can't get their hands on the most advanced chips.
Right. So it's kind of like they're competing with one hand tied behind their back,
Yeah, basically.
which is amazing that they're doing what they're doing.
It is. It's really impressive.
But it makes you wonder, like, what could they do?
Imagine if they had access to the same level of hardware.
Right. What kind of crazy stuff could they be building?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. It's a huge obstacle for them.
Yeah. And then on top of that, they've got to be dealing with, like, perception issues.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Right? Like, they're this new company coming out of, China and trying to make a name for themselves in this space.
And there's always skepticism.
Absolutely.
People are going to wonder, can they really deliver?
Right. Is this vaporware? Are they...
Is it hype?
Yeah. Are they going to be around in 5 years?
Exactly.
They've got to overcome that hurdle.
Yeah, they've got to build trust.
Mm-hmm.
They've got to build a reputation.
And then, I mean, they've got to just keep up with the pace of innovation.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Right. Like the AI world moves so fast.
It's crazy how fast it's moving.
Right. Like,
New breakthroughs all the time.
new algorithms, new hardware every day, it seems like.
Yeah, it's relentless.
So can they keep up?
That's the question.
Right. They've been doing really well so far.
They have.
But it's a tough challenge.
It is.
And then, another interesting thing about DeepSeek
Okay.
is their timing.
Their timing.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's almost like they've strategically planned these releases to line up with
world events?
Yeah, with world events.
What would it be?
Like DeepSeek R1 dropped right around the same time as President Trump's inauguration.
Oh, wow.
So it's like they're making a statement.
Like they're trying to, assert themselves on the world stage.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It's very interesting.
It makes you wonder,
Yeah.
is this just a company pursuing, technological advancement?
Or is it something more? Or is there something more going on here?
Right. Is this a national strategy kind of thing?
Exactly.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
And it's not even just the timing of the releases.
Right.
They've got this partnership with AMD.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a U.S.-based company.
Mm-hmm.
And they're supplying them with the Instinct GPUs and the ROCm software.
The stuff that they need to train these models.
Yeah.
So it's like, even though there's this, rivalry, this competition, you're still working together.
Yeah.
Right? It's like this weird...
It's a strange dynamic.
Yeah. It's a very strange dynamic.
Because on one hand, it's like, win-win.
Yeah.
AMD gets to sell their products.
Mm-hmm.
DeepSeek gets the hardware they need.
Right.
But on the other hand...
Are they helping to empower a rival?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. It's very strange.
It's a very strange situation.
And another thing,
Mm-hmm.
all this is not going unnoticed.
Right.
Hugging Face.
Hugging Face.
The open source AI community?
Yeah.
They've launched this project called OpenR1.
OpenR1, okay.
And it's specifically designed to try and replicate
DeepSeek R1.
DeepSeek R1.
Wow.
They're trying to reverse engineer DeepSeek's success.
So they're basically acknowledging that DeepSeek is onto something?
Yeah.
They're a threat?
It's like they've thrown down the gauntlet.
Yeah.
And everyone's kind of scrambling to figure out how they did it.
Yeah, exactly.
So what does that mean for the future of AI? Could this lead to a more, open and collaborative AI landscape?
I mean, it could.
Or are there risks?
There are definitely risks.
Is this going to lead to, some kind of AI arms race?
It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, it is.
For sure. I mean, on the one hand, open sourcing this stuff could lead to this, incredible explosion of innovation.
Right.
Imagine a world where
anyone
can access this technology.
Right. Not just these big companies with tons of money.
Right. Like researchers and developers and startups and, just people who are passionate about AI.
Yeah. It's an exciting thought.
It is.
But like you said, there are risks, right?
Oh, yeah.
What happens if this stuff gets into the wrong hands?
Right.
I mean, this is powerful technology.
It's incredibly powerful.
Could it be used, for bad things?
Absolutely.
Right.
I mean, that's a question that the entire AI community needs to grapple with. As AI gets more and more powerful.
Right.
We have to think about the ethical implications.
The ethical implications and how to use it responsibly.
Exactly.
Right. And I mean, DeepSeek's story really highlights that.
Yeah.
It's not just about building powerful AI. It's about building responsible AI.
Responsible AI.
AI that's going to benefit humanity as a whole.
Right.
Not just, a select few.
Exactly.
And that's a huge challenge.
It is a huge challenge.
But it's also an incredible opportunity.
It is.
And their cost-efficient approach, that could have a huge impact on the global economy.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Right. AI wouldn't just be something that, these giant corporations can use. Smaller companies.
Startups.
Yeah. Research institutions.
Governments even.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone could have access to these tools.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It is.
It's really exciting.
It is.
But, it's still an uphill battle.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right. They're a small company going up against these giants. Can they really make a lasting impact?
Well, I think they already have.
Okay.
They've shaken up the industry.
They have.
They've made the big players take notice, and they've shown that innovation can come from anywhere.
Right. It doesn't have to come from Silicon Valley.
Exactly.
So what's the big takeaway here for our listeners?
Well, I think the big takeaway is that the future of AI is not set in stone.
Okay.
It's something that we're all shaping.
Right.
Through our choices and our investment.
Yeah,
our policies, exactly.
Yeah.
And DeepSeek is showing us that there are alternative paths forward. Paths that prioritize, efficiency and accessibility and collaboration.
Yeah, it's a really exciting time to be following this stuff.
It is.
And DeepSeek's story is a reminder that we're not just,
spectators.
Yeah, we're not just watching this happen.
Right.
We're participating in it.
We're all shaping the future of AI.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It is.
Um, so for all of you out there who are interested in this stuff, keep an eye on DeepSeek.
Yeah, they're doing some amazing things.
They are. They might just be writing the next chapter in the story of AI.
Oh, sure.
And that's something you don't want to miss.
Definitely not.
So thanks for tuning in to this deep dive on DeepSeek.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep diving deep.